everyone, William here. I just had another great conversation with another guest. Would you like to come in and listen in on the conversation we had? By the way, feel free to share it with anyone you feel may find it of interest. Come on, let's go listen in now.
So Sean, with your advocacy in the barbering industry, you've done a lot of things in the local community as well, and I understand that you're running for Ward 3 Councillor.
Again, yes, I'm running for Ward 3 Councillor again. My advocacy with the Ontario Barber Association actually started a little bit. That's what got me into the whole political movement, believe it or not. But before that, it was a lot of the community stuff that got me into politics. So I saw a lot going on in my community, and I'm like, why is this the way it is? Then I delved a little further into it. I'm like, oh, what's a council? What's city council? Oh, so why isn't the city councilor here doing what he should be doing? Oh, how does this work? Then I just kept opening doors. It was like an onion, just these different layers. I'm like, this politics thing is pretty interesting. I'm a community guy. I'm engaged. Let me try to figure this out. That's where I kind of started with the whole politics. That's where I started with my community. I moved to the corner of Wentworth and Maine where the barbershop is. And I was there probably about 2 to 3 weeks or months. Probably 2 to 3 months. And one of the kids in the neighborhood broke my glass. Or somebody broke my glass. I thought it was one of those kids. But I had video surveillance at the time, so I saw it. It was one of those kids. So I went down to the courthouse, filed a complaint, I found out the kids that did it and tried to file charges against them, and they couldn't afford to pay the charges. The one family brought me $20 every week. I'm like, this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. So I went to the community center, and I said, what are you guys doing down here? You got kids running all over the place, breaking people's glasses. I just moved into the neighborhood. What the heck's going on? I'm like, who's this guy? Calm down. What's your problem? If you want to make a difference, come, volunteer, and make a difference. Laura Trockley-Orman, that's who was a community liaison. She was a community working at Pinky Lewis at the time. And I'm like, what do I need to do? Because I want to volunteer. So she's like, what do you mean you want to volunteer? Who's this guy? Right? Go get a police check and let me know who you are. And I'm like, listen, these kids broke my glass, so I want to make sure that I'm here in this community, helping all the kids in the community. I'm from the community, right? I grew up on Tisdale, so it's about time I give back and have these kids stop breaking my glass. So she didn't know how to take me, right? Because I'm a little much at times. She's like, are you serious? I'm like, I'm serious. And this was back in 2006, right? Around the same time I ran for the first time for council. And I'm like, I need to be a part of this community more than just saying I'm going to run for council. I need to be more involved, right? So in between there and there, I just decided to become a little bit more involved, right? So I'm like, okay, so this is how I'm gonna make a difference, by becoming a part of this community, by volunteering with all these kids, because all these kids from Pinky Lewis used to go to Weaver or Cathedral, so I would have a better presence and understanding of what their needs and their concerns were. Our youth is our future, Bill, because I was one of those little kids running around that I wasn't breaking anybody's glass, right? But I was getting into trouble. So our kids are our future. We need to invest in them. So I just didn't. What makes them tick? What are the issues? Are they not engaged properly? What's the problem? And I spent the next 7, 8 years getting to know all of them, or they at least knew me. So we did more than just volunteer. I just became a more visible part of the neighborhood and the community. That's when I realized that the politics it's tied in to the same thing, right? Because the current incumbent at the time, that's all everybody said. He's here, he's a part of the neighborhood, he's a part of the community. I'm like, so am I. So they're like, no, you're not. I'm like, okay, now I am. So that's what I've been doing from 2006 until present day, making sure that I'm engaged and I'm part of that process, and I'm part of that growth, and I know exactly what's going on. And I know the kids that broke my glass, and I know the kid. Funny thing, the kids that broke my glass, he just had his own son down, and he passes, waves all the time. I'm like, you good? Yeah. How's things? Good? How's work? Good? He's a man now. He's not a child anymore, right? And that's what we sometimes forget. The kids in these neighborhoods, they're going to grow up to be men and women that live in the same neighborhoods. So we got to treat them properly. We got to treat them right. And that was behind a lot of my campaign in 2006, in 2010. And it will be the same part of my campaign in 2014, right? These kids are our future. Right?
And forgiveness was a big part of that.
Yeah,
For sure.
that had to come with it,
Yeah.
man. Like you can't look at what kids do and let them carry that burden for the rest of their life.
for
Like,
sure.
you broke my glass. You're the guy that broke my glass, and I can't believe you. I'm like, let's get over it. I was 8, bro. I'm sorry.
Yeah, for sure. He's
All
a
right.
kid, right?
So he was a kid. So yeah, it was. It's kind of around that that area, that story that really had me invested in. I can make a difference as a counselor because the counselor, everything kept on going back to the counselor. What's our vision? Well, check with the counselor. Well, what's our mandate? Well, visit the counselor and see. Like, what? So now the position's open, and I'm hoping to really make a change this time, or see that there is some type of representation for our community.
And the vision being youth?
The vision's always youth.
That's the broader scope of your vision. So what would be your vision and your mandate for counselor?
For counselor, it's got to be about we, not me. It has to be, right? Like there's no need to reinvent the wheel. I'm not that smart, right? I'm personable, right? And I understand our neighborhood and the community, but there are smart people out there, from the Sherman Hub to the countless community advocacy groups that we have, the North End neighbor. They're already doing the job that needs to be done, but they just need somebody to listen. So I don't have all these magnificent plans. Okay, this is what we need to do. I need to talk to the guys at Sherman Hub or North End neighborhood community and say, okay, what is it that we're lacking, and where can we do better? Because they've got the forms, they've got the stats, the numbers. They know exactly what needs to be done. This is their community. And anytime I go into a meeting or address an issue or visit to try to figure out what's going on, the community, they're on top of it. There's an issue with the Parkview, and it's getting so much media coverage. You know what kills me, Bill? I've been working with Parkview from back in 2007, and I still work with Parkview. Kids still come to the barbershop that we've worked with their program. Pat McCullough was the cosmetologist that was there, and I worked with her and Principal Beatty to bring the kids in for the free haircuts and the ones that wanted to learn barbering. We've been doing that for years. I didn't get no coverage on it, though. Right? It wasn't.
But the community knows it.
The community knows it, and it wasn't sexy at the time.
And they're the ones that vote.
Exactly. So
the people who need to know.
That's my big thing. I'm not. It's not for show. It was for real. Right? So for years, it was just always for real, and the community kept telling me, "What have you done? What are you doing?" And I'm like, "I'm doing a lot." I was like, "Wow, we don't know." I was like, "Okay, well, I'll just keep doing what I'm doing." And I went through the process over and over again. Like I said, this is the 3rd time. So I did it in 2006, 2010. This is 2014. So my whole push is not about look what I can do, or this is what I'm suggesting that I'm going to do, or I'm hoping to do this. This is what I've done. So I've got a body of work already for residents and citizens to see for themselves, right? And this round, I'm not too sure, what people are looking for, but I know what they need, right? And not because I'm better or I have a really good understanding, because they keep telling me, well, Sean, this is what we need. We need this group. We need this. We need this. We need this. It's evident. We know what the Code Red stories say. I hate, and I know hate's a strong word, but I hate the image that we're portrayed as in the North End or in Ward 3. I hate it. I'd love to see that change, right? And
what would you prefer the image be?
The positive image that it is. That it is the image as a growing place, a place where change is about to come, and we're poised for something different, as opposed to the highest number of whatever. I don't want to perpetuate the negative stereotype,
sure.
but I'd love to see that that whole image change of the North End and the Ward 3 that we've had. You know, it bothers me, and that's also part of my vision, to see that leadership changes to something a lot more progressive. You've probably never noticed this, and I don't know if I've said this on video before, but Wellington, I think it is. Wellington to Ottawa is where our boundaries are. And you see a definitive divide. Like when you cross over where our ward boundaries are, I think there's a sign that says "Welcome to Hamilton." And even the cobblestone on the street is different that way, closer to downtown. But our ward, not so much. It's not a big deal. Ottawa Street, the whole climate, the landscape changes once you pass Ottawa. But before that, not so much. It's just this forgotten zone in the middle of nowhere, this purgatory almost. And I'd love to see that change, right? And when you mentally put people in that place, right? Even aesthetically, you put people in that place. That's where they stay.
Steer the talent in a different direction, I think, is what I hear you say.
It'd be nice. And again, it's not me. It's we.
Because you were talking about there being very smart people and very talented in that area.
Extremely.
So if you could take that and steer it in a different direction, it could make for change. The community could get involved and change themselves. Super.
Like the community, no, I could say Sherman Hub because I've worked more closely with them specifically, right? They have some amazing ideas and they're doing a lot of amazing things. And it's just not one person, it's a group of people coming together. It's like, this is a great idea, this is a great idea, why don't we push this? Why don't we encourage that? And when they always get to the top, it's the same thing. Well, council's not too sure. You need somebody in there that can represent your concerns and speak properly. Not an advocate, yes, but it's not what you say, it's how you say it. So if I'm a counselor, I've got to work with my other counselors. So you need somebody that's able to navigate properly in that political sphere, right? Because you're going to have to get what you want for your ward, as well as working with these other guys to make sure that they're happy as well. That's not easy, especially with City Council of Hamilton. It's a tough room to work in.
That's where becoming being a really good relationship builder
is essential. It's essential. So, you know, your genuine nature has to shine through. You know, when I first started looking into politics in 2006, one of the challenges for me was, do you need a master's or a bachelor's? Like, what do you need to become a politician? And I would see only few politicians would actually have political science behind their name. The others were just really nice guys, or very personable individuals, or you know, great women, right? There were a few that came from this high political background.
Real people from the real community.
That's who represented council, right? So, you know, in light of our former councillor, I would like to do the exact same thing, right? Because I went door to door one year, and it was unbelievable how many people said, he's a good guy and he always comes and visits me. So you're not getting my vote, Mr. Gibson, but you seem like a nice guy too. I'm like, what? Just give me a chance. But I mean, he was a master. He was really good at you know, that relationship building, right? Everybody was his friend, and they went to school with him. Everybody. It's like, oh yeah, we go way back.
I believe it's called the speed of trust.
And he had that on lock. And you know, just paying attention to him, because I was always behind him, but paying attention to him, he's a good teacher, because he was a great politician. There's a lot of things that I would do differently, but he was good at what he did. And that's why he was there so many years, right? It wasn't by luck, by chance. He was skilled, because he'd do something, I'm like, this guy, how does he do this? It's a machine. Like, how does he do this? Unbelievable. I even went into his office. I'm like, hey, listen, what's going on? Are you going back? What's happening? Where are you going with this? You know, and he'd tell me straight, I'm not going anywhere, man. I'm not going anywhere, Sean. He was good at what he did, and you know, God rest his soul. He did a lot of positive things for our neighborhood and for our community.
Yeah,
right?
Sounds like big shoes to fill.
I'm not trying to fill those shoes.
Yeah.
I don't have shoes to fill that. I want to stand in the background of something that great, because what he left is more than just a legacy, right? And it'll be remembered for years. So if anything, whomever takes that position needs to respect his place and
pick up where he left off, as it were.
Yeah, just continue on, because he left some big shoes to fill for sure. Nobody can step in those.
Yeah, pretty good. Well, listen, I appreciate you coming out today and having a conversation with me again. And,
God bless you. It's my pleasure.
Sharing your vision for barbering and your vision for the city of Hamilton.
I fought for both. I fight for what I love. Yeah. So I love barbering and I love the community. So we'll see how this plays out.
Love to do it again as things progress for you.
Oh, God bless you.
All the best in your future, Sean.
Thank you so much.
Have a great day.
Appreciate it.
Bye for now.
Good.
Join us. Catch the bug.